If this doesn't represent Indiana's stamp on the world, then what does? This is May. This is Indianapolis.
Drivers, start your engines!
This is the time Hoosiers celebrate the greatest spectacle in racing. And this, our month-long commitment to provide perspective on how the business of motorsports is driving big bucks into the Hoosier economy.
Joseph Newgarden is a two-time Indy 500 winner! Oh my goodness!
This is Inside Indiana Business, Business at the Brickyard, presented by Liuna with support from the City of Westfield and Daniels Family Vineyard and Winery.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gerry Dick, presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and Liuna.
A first-timer is going to win the 100th Indianapolis 500-mile race, California's Alexander Rossi.
It hasn't happened since the checkered flag drop 9 years ago.
This will be an Indianapolis 500 sellout, which we're excited about. We will lift the local delay in the Indianapolis market so those folks here in Indianapolis can watch the Indianapolis 500 live. This community supports the Indianapolis Motor Speedway 365 days a year. This is a way for us to say thank you to the folks here in Central Indiana.
By the shoot, Turner. He puts it.
Which opens up a lane for Indiana Pacers fans to watch Game 3 of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals after the race.
Has punched their ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the final installment of our month-long Business at the Brickyard series. It's a look at the economic impact, the dollars that go into the Indiana economy from the motorsports sector. It is significant. An estimated $1 billion annually in economic impact statewide, nearly half of that generating here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There are more than 500 racing-related businesses in Indiana, responsible for more than 23,000 jobs, many that pay above the state average. And motorsports, and the greatest spectacle in racing in particular, also put Indiana in the international spotlight. The Indy 500 is broadcast in more than 200 countries, serving as a global advertisement for the state's economy and quality of life. This week, we'll hear from Indy 500 champ Marcus Ericsson on what it takes to compete in the pressure cooker that is the Indy 500.
Turns 3 and 4, bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel, door to door around Winchester Speedway. The JEG CRA All-Stars Tour is green.
We'll also give you a look inside grassroots racing with a visit to Randolph County and the historic Winchester Speedway.
The 2024 Le Mans 24 Hours.
And we'll tell you about a just-announced partnership with a motorsports mecca in France that could mean even more economic opportunities in the future. Joining me now with more on that momentum and the future here at IMS and the IndyCar Series, pleased to be joined by the CEO of IndyCar and Penske Entertainment, Mark Miles. Mark, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Gary. Always a pleasure.
A lot of momentum, as we've talked about, that continues around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and IndyCar racing. This week, though, a bit of controversy with the Penske team situation. Does that tend to dampen that enthusiasm and the momentum that's been generated here?
I don't know. We certainly do what we have to do by enforcing our rules, and I think we've done that in a strenuous way in this instance. Whether fans are paying more attention because of controversy or not, I don't know. In other sports, sometimes it has that effect, but that certainly wasn't our motivation. We're just trying to do the right thing in enforcing our rules.
Big news made about a week ago or so with an official sellout of the grandstand and the lifting of the blackout. As you look at that decision and how it was made, your thoughts?
Well, we're thrilled, of course. We consider this event for the whole community, and when we got to the point where it was absolutely clear that the grandstands will be sold out, which I think will be confirmed before too long, it seemed like the right thing to do. The infield seats are still, not seats, the infield places. General admission is still available, and they're selling like hotcakes. So it's all good. We're going to have a great crowd and a great event.
What do you think is responsible for that momentum that we're talking about, be it the attention here in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the new TV partner, Fox? What's responsible for the momentum?
I think there's lots of things. Fundamentally, this place, the history, the traditions, especially for our community and our state, are powerful. And they just keep growing. I think that's because we had great racing, amazing finishes. Fox has been a new partner in terms of media, and they promoted it I'm just so thrilled with that partnership. So yeah, it's the racing, and every year we try to add something for the fans that turn up, and I think it's going to be a fantastic Sunday.
How about the partnership with Fox? First year of that partnership, seems to be a lot of promotion around this event in IndyCar race.
Well, they're looking to do all they can to lift the whole series. That's their objective, and we, of course, love it. So, yeah, they've done their first 30-second spots. We thought they were fantastic. There's at least 4 now. And they're really about making the key drivers, the lead drivers, be better known. They're also promoting the heck out of the Indy 500, trying to make sure that as many people know it's happening and tune in as possible. So they've been great in that regard. We like the way they've produced the race. If you actually do watch the television of this race or any others, they're really very committed.
Final question for you, Mark. The future of IndyCar racing. A lot of enthusiasm here at IMS. How about the rest of the series?
It's going great. We start the year in St. Petersburg, Florida. It was the biggest crowd they've ever had. Quickly, we go to Long Beach, California. It was fantastic and thermal out in the desert in California. And anyway, so we've had a great early run, and we think that this May audience will propel it further. And I think it's just the beginning. We're going to have meaningful growth in our television audiences. We're having meaningful growth in our on-site attendance, and those are 2 of the keys to success.
Mark Miles, CEO of Penske Entertainment. As always, thanks for joining us.
And now here it is.
We'll mention the name Unser, and most people's minds race right here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Unser has taken the checkered flag here 9 times. Al Unser Sr., a member of the prestigious 4-time Winners Club.
Race belongs to Bobby Unser.
Brother Bobby, a 3-time Indy 500 champ. And Al's son, Al Jr., a 2-time winner. The town of Speedway will honor Big Al by transforming this roundabout at 16th and Main Street into a new gateway paying tribute to Indiana's rich racing heritage. The lyrics from Back Home Again in Indiana, also part of that design. The $2 million project is being partially funded by the Al Unser Sr. Trust. Well, coming up next, we hear from the driver who won the Indianapolis 500 back in 2022. We hear about what it takes to get ready to put the pedal to the metal. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and our Business at the Brickyard series. This is race weekend, where the name of the game is speed, strategy, and stamina. Marcus Ericsson knows all about that. He won here in 2022. Business of Health reporter Kylie Valletta spoke with them on what goes into preparing to drive some of the fastest cars in the world for 500 miles.
Thanks, Gary. Some experts compare driving a race car to running a marathon because the heart rates are so similar. We caught up with the former Indy 500 winner Marcus Ericsson to see how he keeps his body ready for peak performance. Workouts that build human horsepower are always top of mind for drivers. And the Brickyard is an even bigger beast.
Yeah, I think the 500 is just it's a long race, 500 miles. It's longer than all the other races we do.
And like many Hoosiers, spring means allergies for Ericsson. And a new purple paint job with his May sponsor.
Leg grab being 0% brain interference, non-drowsy, and you stay sharp with it.
Cardio is also critical.
Cardio is important as well because we drive 2 hours, 3-hour races, and our average heart rate is about 80% of max heart rate for 2 hours or more. So you need to have a very good base cardio to be able to do that.
And strength for 230 miles per hour with no power steering.
A lot of upper body strength, so you want to be strong in your neck and your shoulders for the G-forces. We pull up to 5G in some of the corners. Same time, you don't want to be too bulky because it's quite tiny in those cars. So you can't be too bulky.
And there's an unusual muscle focus for these muscle cars.
Where I lift weights with my head. It looks a bit freaky, and people at the gym always look at me and like whispers and like point over in my direction, thinking I'm a freak or something. They know me by now. I've been going there for a while, so they know that this strange guy is driving race cars. You know, that's why he's doing the strange exercises.
Ericsson also meets with a mental trainer each week, and he says that mental toughness helped him win the Indy 500, a red flag with just 2 laps to go, the biggest mental test of his career.
So I was just sitting in my car waiting for it to restart, and to sit there for 10 minutes when it's 300,000+ people screaming and knowing that I am 2 laps away from winning the biggest race in the world that will change my life forever, and to sit there and not let those thoughts go into my head and lose my focus was the biggest mental challenge I think you can probably have.
You want to talk about mental fortitude. Think about what this driver just went through in the last 10 minutes.
If you're a bit stronger and better focused than the other guys that you're racing, that's going to make a difference, and that difference can be the difference between winning or finishing second.
The final few days leading up to the Indy 500 are a bit more relaxed for Marcus. He says that's when he rests his body so it's ready for the big race. Gerry, back to you.
All right, Kylie, thank you. Some great insights there from Marcus Ericsson on what it takes to win here at Indy. Now under Purdue University and its long history with motorsports.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
In Indiana. Starts with the All-American Marching Band, right? Since 1919, the official marching band of the Indianapolis 500. Back home again in Indiana, everyone's favorite tradition, or I think a lot of people's favorite tradition. Obviously, the intro starts with the band, but it goes well beyond that. In the garages over there, we in fact have a Boilermaker graduate from the Indianapolis and the West Lafayette programs in every single American-based team.
Not just the marching band, Purdue is also leading the pack when it comes to educating the next generation of racing professionals. It's the only college in the nation offering an accredited undergraduate degree in motorsports engineering.
Young people preparing themselves, classic example, to lead businesses in the very technologically complex world of motorsports. And so there are a lot of connections there on the academic side, too. So, yeah. Nothing beats May in Indiana, and it's always been fun that Purdue was so much in the middle of it.
And Purdue Motorsports is making a big move this race weekend. The program moving into Dallara's U.S. headquarters on Main Street in Speedway, where students will hone their skills in aerodynamics, engineering, and design.
Coming up, the story behind one of Indiana's most historic Hoosier tracks.
He strike fast, strike hard. Down into the corner for the number 22 car. Wants to lead. Lap number 1. Swanson down to the inside.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway race weekend as we conclude our month-long Business at the Brickyard series. It's time now to get caught up on some of the business headlines making news around Indiana.
Here's what's making news around Indiana, brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors, Indiana's 21,000 realtors, the neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
The city of Gary hitting the jackpot. The new Lake County Convention Center will be built next to the Hard Rock Casino there. County leaders choosing Gary over Hobart. Hard Rock plans to build a $260 million hotel that will connect the casino and convention center. The project expected to generate more than $16 million in revenue for the region. Cummins has broken ground on a $70 million expansion at its Olympic facility in Columbus. The project includes a small number of jobs and installation of advanced testing equipment to help Cummins reach its zero emissions goals. Meantime, South Bend International is also eyeing a multi-million-dollar project that's focused on making the roads in and out of the concourse area more efficient. Plans include adding a dedicated lane for drop-off and pickup, Construction is expected to start this summer. The estimated cost around $14 million. A major renewable energy project in Pulaski County has closed on funding for the final phases of construction. Doral Renewables is investing $1.5 billion into the Mammoth Solar Project, which actually stretches into Stark County as well. Once complete, Doral says it will generate enough power to support about 275,000 homes annually.
Well, dreaming big to drive at a place like Indianapolis starts small for many race drivers. Many of them cut their teeth on small tracks around the state of Indiana. Legendary venues like the historic Winchester Speedway in far eastern Indiana. Mary Rachel Redmond has more from Randolph County.
Well, Gary, it's been called the world's fastest half mile, a track where legends are made and speed is king.
And we are green.
This track is one of the oldest in the country. Started in 1914.
There's only two racetracks older than Winchester, Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Milwaukee Mile up in Wisconsin.
A racetrack steeped in history and horsepower.
Winchester is really the foundation for what grassroots short track racing is. You couldn't get grassroots racing at a 2.5-mile oval like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The incorporation of Winchester and the super high banks got everybody's attention.
Attention from major players like the first family of NASCAR.
The France family came here in the 1950s because they wanted to build a super speedway like Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but they wanted it to have high banking. And they looked at the banking at Winchester and said, we've got to figure this out and incorporate it into what is Daytona International Raceway.
The green flag is out. We are underway.
Redmond says Winchester's true golden era was the 70s and 80s, when a then upstart sports network by the name of ESPN began broadcasting races.
Thursday Night Thunder with ESPN, that's where Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman cut their teeth in open-wheel racing.
At first glance, Winchester Speedway may seem just like any other oval. Yeah. But I can tell you, it's anything but.
You don't slow down very much getting around these corners.
They will be in excess of 140 miles an hour. If something goes wrong, there's no time to react.
Not to mention the track's 37-degree banking is among the steepest in the world.
You go to Winchester, you're already scared before you even pull into place.
The old saying used to go was, if you can win at Winchester, you can win anywhere.
What do Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Sarah Fisher, Bobby Unser, Mario Andretti, and A.J. Foyt have in common?
Over the decades, Winchester has become a proving ground for rising stars.
Sarah Fisher never would have got noticed if it wouldn't have been for Winchester.
For legendary driver Tom Bigelow, Winchester is a nostalgic nod to his career as one of the all-time winningest drivers in USAC sprint car history.
I won my 50th USAC sprint car race here.
Number 24 is Tom Bigelow.
9 starts at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
I'm very tickled to have done it that many times.
From past legends to future stars, Winchester Speedway is poised to continue its legacy as a symbol of speed for another century.
We're going to continue to redo things and bring the amenities up to speed.
I want to keep it here and take it to the bigger crowds and things than ever.
In fact, you might just say here at the world's fastest half mile, the finish line is just the start of big things to come. Gary?
All right, Mary Rachel, thanks. Great story from Randolph County. Well, coming up next, Indiana's global connection to the business of motorsports. What a partnership between Indy and a well-known racing city in France could mean down the road. Well, welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is home, of course, to one of the crown jewels of motorsports, the Indianapolis 500. Another 4,000 miles away across the pond in the heart of France at Le Mans, where the iconic 24 Hours of Le Mans takes place each year. More now on how a new partnership between Indy and Le Mans could mean big bucks for both cities.
The purpose of this meeting is the most worthwhile purpose there is in the world today. To help build the road to peace. Help build the road to an enduring peace.
President Dwight Eisenhower launched the Sister Cities program in 1956 as a means to foster cultural and educational understanding between U.S. cities and their foreign counterparts. Indy's 11th and newest sister city has the potential to drive economic impact as well.
All-American front row with Penske's Porsche and the number 3 Cadillac.
Le Mans, France, like Indianapolis, is a global motorsports center. It is home to the iconic 24 Hours of Le Mans endurance race and a well-established motorsports industry.
Most cities have a rich history of motorsports, racing, the automotive industry. And Le Mans actually has similar what we have here, a lot of automotive and racing industry settled close to the race, actually in a technopark inside the 8.5-mile race circuit in Le Mans, developing new technology for automotive and racing, but also developing racers and race car drivers.
7 and 8 from Toyota continued to slug it out for supremacy.
International Center of Indiana CEO Martin Beyer says the agreement is the result of more than 8 years of courtship that included the Indy Chamber and a trade trip to Le Mans 2 years ago, led by then Governor Eric Holcomb.
Number one would be probably sports tourism. The race in Le Mans, and of course, the Indy 500 is on the bucket list of every race fan around the world. But then also development in the automotive industry, where both cities can partner and working on concepts for the future. And then, of course, we might see some of the French automotive industry and racing industry settle here in Indianapolis. Similar to what we saw when Indianapolis started sister city programs with Monza, the famous racing city, and then Northamptonshire in England, also known for their racing. And now we have companies here like Dallara from Italy and X-Track from England.
And Beyer believes the Le Mans-Indy relationship can extend beyond motorsports to other strengths of the two cities, including renewable energy and technology.
Well, that's a wrap for this year's Business at the Brickyard series, our month-long look at the economic impact of motorsports on the Indiana economy. And it really does extend beyond dollars and cents. Motorsports in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway are global ambassadors, cultural cornerstones, and a part of a legacy that continues to drive investment, tourism, and pride statewide. We leave you this week, this race weekend, with a look at some of the highlights we've brought you over the course of the past month. I'm Gerry Dick. Thanks for joining us. Go out and make it a successful week.
Get ready for full throttle coverage as we shift into high gear for Business at the Brickyard, presented by Liuna with support from the City of Westfield and Daniel's Family Vineyard and Winery. We're giving you the inside track on the powerful connection between motorsports and the Indiana economy. Join us at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for exclusive interviews, behind-the-scenes access, and the stories that drive the business of motorsports. So buckle up and join us for Emmy Award-winning Business at the Brickyard coverage all month long.